Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend and colleague I'm looking for another job after she was promoted instead of me? Original post. I, 42 male, have been at my job for 8 months now, but I've known my manager, deputy manager, and another colleague for a few years. I worked with them for 2 years and left to go to my last job in 2019, where I stayed until last year. When I was talking to my manager when I was going for this job, I told him that I have ambition and I wanted to leave that job because I was working as well as a manager, but not being paid or recognized for it. And he said that this role would be restructured when people leave or retire this year. And basically, as he remembers how good a worker I was, I'd definitely be in consideration for a senior or managerial role. So I've been there 8 months, passed my probation, and done really well. I have a colleague from my last place, 36 female, who I worked with for the last 2 years, and we're actually good friends too. I also know her husband really well from back in the day. I actually approached her for the job and put in a good word for her. She's brilliant in her jobs, very quick learner and really proficient. And truth be told, she's been doing really well since she started in May. I've also been training her. Sod's law, though, that I left my last place because they refused to promote anyone and didn't want a manager. But as soon as I left, they promoted her and gave her a pay rise to try and keep her. I had last week off on annual leave, and when I came back this week, my manager took me to one side for a meeting on Monday. He told me he wanted me to know before anyone else that the restructure is now happening and they're creating a supervisor role. And my colleague is the one who's been offered the job. He knew I was gutted about it, and I asked him why her. And he said basically as good as I am, he thinks she would be better as a manager and has more qualities that suit it. And also as she's technically been a senior in the last role, it looks better to higher ups. I said I wasn't happy and that I want to be a manager one day. And he said that I'm an amazing employee, probably the most reliable on my team and technically the most proficient, but he doesn't think I have the qualities to be a manager. I was just so deflated I zoned out for the rest of his spiel and went back to work afterwards. He announced it, and everyone was all happy for her and congratulating her. I basically was quiet. I messaged her later on about it, trying to joke around as we have that sort of humor. I was all like, thanks a lot for nicking my job mate, really appreciate it. She was trying to be all sympathetic back, saying, no, I'm so sorry, I feel so bad. How do you feel? I said basically I'm going to look for another job. I don't think I can stay there after that. She was going like, no, don't leave. Is it because of me? I said yeah, basically. I'm done. And she went, please don't. I'll need you now more than ever. I said, you'll be fine. Just don't get a job wherever I go and steal my promotion again, mate, lol. She didn't reply and left me on 2 blue ticks. I've been doing the bare minimum the rest of this week, especially on my working from home days. I've updated my CV and am applying for other jobs. She's tried to talk to me this week and so have others, but I feel like I just want to get out of there. Am I the a-hole for being honest with her and looking for another job? Now for the top comments before reading the update. The most reliable on my team and technically the most proficient, but doesn't think I have the qualities to be a manager. Okay, I think I see the problem. I'll need you now more than ever. Your colleague also sees the problem. You are too valuable in your current role to promote. Considering that at worst you've been doing your job well while acting as a trainer and recruiter, I'd want to keep you in that role as well. Reliability can be a curse. At your exit interview, name drop the manager who bluntly told you that you have no chance of advancement in the company. Not the a-hole. That's the problem. I'm seen as patient and reliable, so I always get given the task to train and mentor new people. And then those people get promoted ahead of me. If mentorship and training aren't adding to your compensation or potential for advancement, why are you providing it? Good question. It's just something I've done for so long in so many jobs. It's just always something I've done. Maybe I should stop or refuse it now. Not the a-hole. You were upfront about your ambitions. Your boss dangled the possibility of promotion and then handed it to someone else, someone you literally helped bring in and trained. That's a kick in the teeth. Your colleague isn't the villain here. She applied. She's good at her job, and management chose her. But your feelings are valid. It hurts to be told you're the most reliable and technically strong but not management material. That's a polite way of saying we'll use you forever as the dependable worker bee but never reward you. You didn't sabotage her. You didn't make a scene. You made a couple of slightly salty jokes and then decided to update your CV. That's just reality. If a company shows you they don't see you in leadership, believe them and move on. The only thing is, don't take it out on her. She didn't steal your promotion. Management never planned to give it to you. Yeah, I don't think I have it in me to sabotage anyone on purpose. I think, though, I probably won't stay friends after this. I have too bad a taste in my mouth now. Now for the update. Okay, so before my update, just to clarify, mainly regarding the way I reacted to my colleague who was promoted, and the criticism that I shouldn't take it out on her, and that I was unprofessional in how I acted. Yep, 100% I'll own that. I probably was unprofessional. But in my defense, one of the reasons I accepted this job was because I told my manager I was leaving my last place since they kept promising me promotion, and it never happened, and he said I would be in contention for a senior role here. And then I've trained her twice, only for her to now be my boss, with me having to report to her, and her telling me what to do. It's happened to me before, and it never ends well. The promoted person always treats you like crap and lets it go to their head. So now for the actual update. My manager took me aside for a meeting on Tuesday, as people had told him they'd noticed how down I am and that I'm not my usual self. Since it was after our last meeting, he wanted to see how I feel now. I basically told him I feel hurt, that if I'd known, I wouldn't have left my last place and definitely wouldn't have recruited my old colleague. He said it was a professional decision and had nothing to do with me as a person. He gave me some feedback. She's calm under pressure. Doesn't make little errors like I sometimes do when I'm stressed, doesn't take criticism personally, and doesn't get angry when people are angry with her, whereas I need to work on those last 2 points. He said to give my promoted colleague my support, learn from her, etc. I personally don't agree, and think I could train myself in those things. I was pretty annoyed by the learn from her spiel, but I just bit my tongue. He also said that since her last role was senior on her CV, it's far easier to make someone a manager when they've already done it on paper, especially when he's talking to his managers. He stressed again that I'm an amazing asset, still the best worker in the team, and that my technical and legislative knowledge is the best. He said my data analysis skills are very powerful, and the reports I create are very helpful, especially for his bosses, who notice how valuable my skills are. They still mentioned to him how good the bespoke report I made shortly after joining the company was. He said just because I'm not a manager doesn't mean I'm less important. I replied that while that's all well and good, it isn't going to give me the pay rise I want or the satisfaction of reaching my personal and professional goals. He said maybe I shouldn't see being a manager as the be-all end-all and instead consider a technical role and pursue the other level 4 technical qualification rather than the management course. That way, I could develop my knowledge and technical skills even further. He said hardly anyone goes that route, but I definitely should, and become the technician of the team, the one everyone goes to for advice, and who develops the department's procedures more. He said that while it might not increase my salary immediately, being qualified that way and having that unofficial role could allow him to make a case to his bosses to create an official senior role just for me. That way, I could be paid more on par with a manager, but without having to manage people. And failing that, one of his long-term goals is to increase our importance in the company hierarchy and raise our personal grades and salary bands, so that eventually, even if I'm not a manager, I'll still be paid well. He admitted it wouldn't happen overnight and won't be imminent, but he'll do his best. He told me to think about it, not do anything rash, give 100%, and that we'd discuss it at my annual appraisal in 3 months. So in a nutshell, and this is me summarizing, not him saying it, she's better than me. Be her lackey, and I won't be promoted. But keep working hard to make everyone else look good in the vague hope the big bosses eventually give me a pay rise. This could take years. The course takes a year minimum, and then I'd have to stay another 2 years so I wouldn't have to repay the cost. By then I'll be in my mid-40s, which is really too old to be getting a first-time manager role in my profession. I was pretty down after that, and have just kept to myself. I haven't slacked, but I haven't busted my butt either. She, the promoted colleague, messaged me asking if we could go for a walk at lunchtime on Wednesday to clear the air and talk. I told her I'd rather not, that I just want to think for a bit and don't have anything to say. She respected that, left me alone, and said we could talk when I'm ready. I'm sick of talking things out with people like this. I just want to think for myself for a while without anyone trying to convince me of something that suits them or trying to make me feel okay. They only ever talk at you, never listen to you. I've also put my CV out there in a few places. I got a message quite quickly from an old client I dealt with in my last job, asking if I wanted to talk about a senior role at their company in my profession. I had a Teams chat earlier, and it went well. They'll let me know soon if it's going to a formal interview. I think this is a case where there is a bit of truth on both sides. Someone has to actually make the sausage, and you have shown your value in that. It is far much harder to find or replace those individuals. Also, you showed and communicated your emotions in a much too temperamental way directly with others you work with, especially for a potential management individual. Effectively, you have probably reached as high as you are going to go at your current place of employment. I do not think you are wrong in assuming it will take multiple years to possibly promote up. Agree with this. Time to move on. And by the way, some kudos to the friend who got the promotion. She hasn't ratted you out for intending to leave, and that should tell you something about her. Sorry that you have to go through this. I agree with the part that your promoted colleague is not at fault here. It was not her decision who to promote. Your manager is full of it. I am very happy you are not playing their game and are looking for other opportunities. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about being the technical lead and having a senior IC role to get a salary bump. I actually preferred that route for a long time. However, it is only a good option if the company has a valuable employee who needs a salary raise and does not want to be a manager. Then yes, inventing a new tech role for them is a way out for everyone. It absolutely is not a good option to keep a person who wants to transition to the management track in an IC position. Your manager just wants to keep benefiting from your technical skills without providing the reward and compensation you are seeking. Hope to hear your updates about a new job. I mean, it sounds like OP would not be a particularly good manager, so it's unsurprising they'd prefer OP did things they were actually good at. Doesn't mean I have to like it though. You don't have to like it. But the question you should ask yourself is whether the manager title, pay rise, and all the managerial BS that comes with being a manager is what you really want. Or do you really want the recognition for your work and the pay rise that should come with it? I say this as someone who shifted into a managerial role from an individual contributor, was good at it, loved the pay rise, but hated all of the personnel management stuff that came with it. I never minded fighting for my staff, but having to have conversations with grown adults about unprofessional language in the workplace and the constant fights for budget to properly train and retain my staff with senior management wore on me enough that I found a new senior-level individual contributor position elsewhere. That's all well and good, but I'm not going to sacrifice my career to uplift someone else. I've done that enough in my life. My God, the corporate sims in this comment section. Last one read so much better. You reacted just how most people I know would, after being repeatedly passed up for promotions, after being told they'd be up for one. Yeah, you're going to be down. The only reason they're trying so hard to put you back in your place is because you're valuable to them there. But they clearly don't care about you beyond that. Quick story time for you and everyone else who thinks this is acceptable. I had a teammate on a former team of mine look at the metrics and find something he loved doing that had at least 40 hours a week of work tied to it. He pitched it to management. Their response, "Oh well, do it. And your normal position for a month to prove there's enough work and we'll move you into it." So he was working 100 to 120-hour weeks for a month because he really believed in and wanted the new position. After a month, "Oh, you showed there's enough work, but we really like you in your old position, so go back to that, and we're hiring someone for the new position." Yeah, he was down and pissed for the 3 weeks it took him to transfer teams. It ruined the rep of the team for a lot of internals as well. I probably didn't help there either, lol. I was mad too. You made it very clear what your goals were and they spit in your face. The fact they didn't talk to you about this or coach you before all of this proves the point, and by all rights should shut up all the corporate lovers in these comments. But they're too busy dreaming of being the boss, so they can be jerks like your boss was. Good luck getting the management position with a client. I hope it's what you want. The senior technical position also sounds okay if you choose to pursue that elsewhere, but I sure as crap wouldn't pursue it under people who disrespected me like this. Last story. Am I the a-hole for secretly recording my boss and sending it to HR? I have been dealing with this man for months, and it has been exhausting. He constantly makes comments that cross the line. Sometimes it is sexist jokes about women in the office. Other times it is little remarks about how certain people got promotions because they knew how to play the game, which is basically his way of implying they did something inappropriate to get ahead. I actually went to HR about it earlier this year. I explained that his behavior made the workplace uncomfortable and that a lot of us were fed up. They basically brushed me off. Nothing happened and the comments kept coming. So I decided I was going to protect myself. I started recording him when he talked like that. It was not something I felt good about, but I was tired of not having proof. Last week he said something so bad that one of my co-workers actually left the room in tears. I caught the entire thing on my phone. I sent the audio file to HR, thinking this time they would have to act on it. Somehow the recording ended up being emailed to the entire management team. I do not know if that was an accident on their end or if someone wanted to make sure it was heard by more people, but now it is out there and everyone knows about it. My boss has been suspended and the office atmosphere has completely shifted. People are whispering, side-eyeing me, and treating me like I am either the hero who finally stood up to him or the snake who crossed the line by secretly recording a conversation. I did it because I felt like I had no other choice. HR ignored me before, and I was tired of him getting away with this. But now I am wondering if I went too far and if maybe I should have handled it differently. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and just say I tried complaining to HR and they did nothing. Yeah, people saying I should have gone through HR again. Like, hello? I already did that, and nothing changed. You did go to HR again, and provided supporting evidence for your complaint. You aren't responsible for how HR decided to handle the investigation and that evidence. Now go to an attorney. Definitely seek legal counsel for your own safety. HR already dropped it once, and hopefully you have paperwork from when you reported it the first time. Cover your behind, because now HR might be trying to protect themselves for not following up the first time.